What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons. My name is Chris, and with me today, another guy named Kris.
There's two of us, guys.
Kris Too. That's him.
It's
him. I like how I can now tell that you're trying to make stuff up on the spot, because there's a slight pause. You're much better. You're much better with scripts. You're much better with scripts than improv. And I know that because I've seen your pineapple notes and how they're like a page and a half, and mine is like 7 bullets.
Mostly, it's just I just don't want to have to. I mainly write down the stuff, like all the details that I don't have to think about.
Oh yeah, and
later.
You do this on your phone. I do it in front of a computer. So if I need to Google something, I just do it. But anyways, thanks to everybody for tuning in today. If you don't already, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all those things. Also,
we're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Like, oh my gosh, what's that song? He's everywhere. He's everywhere. What is that song?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna hate myself. This is gonna bug me for the rest of the episode. If I remember it, it's gonna be my jam.
Hey, you guys tweeted us and tell us what he's talking about.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Okay, anyways. We're everywhere, just like whatever song that is, and I hope it's not super creepy and inappropriate for me to be mentioning on this podcast. But if you haven't already, also not follow. I already did that part. Leave a review on the iTunes Store, on the Google Play Store, whatever you're listening to this podcast on. Review the show on it. We like that. It's good for the show. It's good for our ratings. And our ratings help people find the show. The higher rated we are, the easier it is to find the show. So, that being said, today we're going to be talking about nerd icons and are they replaceable? So, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Topic Thunder. So, here's the background on this. I was reading an article today, and in that article, I got to the bottom, and you know how like nowadays every article has like clickbait articles from like cheap ads, at the bottom. Well, there were those, but they weren't actually cheap ads. They were just redirecting back to this site that I was reading this article on, but it may or may not have been one of those cheap ad websites. And the article was headlined, "Why Star Wars Needs to Replace the Millennium Falcon." And I was like, ooh, that's going to be some really interesting insight on character development. Wrong. The article was just about nerd icons and the fact that like the Millennium Falcon has been around for the last 40 years, and it's time. It's time to have a new Millennium Falcon. Sure, I can see that. But you're not going to have a new Millennium Falcon. You're going to have the Millennium Falcon and this other thing. So that's what we're going to talk about, because that's my opinion. And Chris, I'm sure, shares that opinion.
Just so you guys know, I came into this conversation completely blind, had no idea what he was talking about, and already I've got 5 opinions on.
And this is why I brought you into this blindly, because if I gave you any more time, we would be talking about this till the sun comes up.
Okay.
So here I'm going to play devil's advocate in this episode. So here's my thing. Here's where I stand on it. And when I say I'm playing devil's advocate, I'm going to basically regurgitate this article to you. So the Millennium Falcon has been around for 40 years. Came out in Star Wars: A New Hope, and it's been around ever since. Han Solo's dead. Like, let's agree to agree on that.
Let him go. Let him go.
We know Han Solo's dead. Chewie, sure. Chewie's around. He's got the Falcon. Like he and Rey are doing their Millennium Falcon-y things, and Finn also, he's there. They're doing their Falcon-y things. But we don't need the Falcon anymore. And to be frank, it's an old ship.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a good ship anymore. Like, it's not the best ship in the galaxy. Like, it cannot do the Kessel Run. Probably at all. It probably can't even finish. Now, it's old. It's a hunk of junk.
It is duct tape and spit holding that thing together.
Yeah. And it's time. As far as the movies go, it's time. Like, they need to upgrade. It's been a while. Also, we have new characters. They need a ship. We didn't get a good ship in Rogue One, which I was floored by.
A little disappointed, yeah.
Like, the movie is named after the ship, and the ship didn't even get a lot of screen time. Like,
well, and it wasn't even something planned out ahead of time. It was like made up on the spot, which was fine for whatever the plot device they were doing in the movie. But yeah, they're
right.
I get what you're saying here. We're getting new characters, and we're just pasting them on top of the template. Or on top of the background that was created before, or on top of the icon that was
we have
there
new
before.
characters. They need their own new things. Like, Finn has his little stormtrooper stick thing. Like his boom sparky stick. I don't know what it's actually called. Maybe that makes me a bad Star Wars fan.
I'm pretty sure Boom Sparky Stick is pretty good. I think that's what they were going for.
That is the proper stormtrooper name.
Because that is what JJ wanted you to say.
They know smart people. But he has his little boom stick, and like Chewie has his freaking crossbow still, like that, which is hilarious to me. I just wanted to bring that up. But like, we still have lightsabers. We still have all this stuff. There's very little new outside of the characters that we're seeing, and I find a problem with that, because it's tickling that nostalgia bone, and it's not carrying the growth of the character development through the story.
That is a great way of putting that. Yeah, because as soon as you said that was the first thing that jumped to my mind, is we're resting on nostalgia so heavily, and yeah, and which, I mean, nostalgia's been at a premium in the last several years for us. How many old properties have been redone or rebooted or whatever? And I mean, shoot, we were talking about Stranger Things last episode and how much we love Stranger Things.
That's a nostalgia bomb.
But I would argue, and I think this might be what you're talking about with this Topic Thunder, is I think Stranger Things is the actual perfect example of nostalgia done right that gives you new icons, because it's not just nostalgia. They're not just going through the whole series and you're like, oh, they're referencing that, and over they're referencing that. Look at all those things from the 80s. It's like, oh, they're wearing Ghostbusters costumes. That's not what it just is. They're wearing Ghostbusters costumes because those characters went and saw Ghostbusters, and they're nerds like us, and they wanted to dress up like their favorite characters. And honestly, even Star Wars was nostalgia in its time, because it was recreating and riffing off of Flash Gordon, that came from before it. But it created its own icons out of that nostalgia, and now we're nostalgic for it. How much? I'm guessing this is where you're going with this.
I don't know where I'm going. Spitballing. I just thought it was a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, but when nostalgia is done right, we get things like Stranger Things, where not only is the time period referential and the subject matter referential, but also like the way they shoot it. Like, a lot of shots from the show are referencing the music. A lot of things are referencing things from the 80s, but at the same time, they're not such blatant references of saying this is Aliens, this is Jaws.
Right.
That it's not. Stranger Things is not Big Bang Theory, where it's just reference, and you're expected to laugh because they said the name of the thing that I like.
They said Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna giggle.
Yeah, exactly. And so, connecting to what you're talking about, I think Stranger Things is an example, because I think Stranger Things has the makings to be it's going to be a classic. I think.
Man, you know what would be a really interesting thing to look up? What is the increase in sales of Eggos? Like, let's be real. When was the last time that you had an Eggo waffle?
Not since I was the age of the kids in Stranger Things.
Yeah. How many Eggo waffles do you think sold in the last year? Like percentage wise? Like just for the sake, of nostalgia. Like this is kind of playing off of your thing. Like go ahead. What do you think?
Man, I don't even know. I gotta imagine that they had to have at least 50% jump on their sales just for the
cute.
What? Okay.
Cute. 143% sale increase.
Oh man.
In the last year. 143%. I just Googled that, so I hope that's right.
And that's not surprising. That's Eggo cashing in on that nostalgia. They're like, hey, they're remembering us. And,
Eggos have been around since the 1960s. Mad Men had an episode where Eggos were brought up. And like it's crazy. Like that's a nostalgia button.
So I mean, and so we're not saying nostalgia is necessarily bad, and when done right, it works really well. But yeah, I get what you're saying, that we're, as much as we love Star Wars and as excited as we are for the new Star Wars movie, I see what you're saying. Like a lot of these touchstones, a lot of the pieces, I would say probably 90% of or more of the pieces of that's making these new Star Wars movies are pieces that have been around since the 70s, are icons and elements that George Lucas came up with in the 70s. Yeah. Granted, he was just riffing off and spoofing, or I guess referencing other things from before him, and that's what creators always do. But we're not seeing a lot of new direction. They're just like, and I guess that's what a lot of people have complained about with Force Awakens. As much fun as it was, they're like, it feels like this is just a lot of the same.
It's A New Hope all over again.
Yeah, so, I mean, we like the new characters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But they're playing in the same sandbox that their parents played in.
Let's take it from this angle, and I'm going to make an assumption. Chris, I'm going to make the assumption that you have seen Star Trek Discovery. Is that a fair assumption?
No, it's not.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery, and when I say
you go ahead, because I've read way too much about it for someone who hasn't.
I'm not going to spoil any of it. But Star Trek Discovery is a friggin' perfect example. Name the Star Trek ship. Star Trek.
The Enterprise. The Enterprise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what's the new show called? Star Trek Discovery. That's the name of the ship.
Great.
They are replacing the Enterprise in the minds of the new generation or of the current generation, whatever. I accidentally said Discovery the other day when talking about the Enterprise. Like that happened. And I know better. And
that's really, I mean, it's really important, I guess, because especially in things like sci-fi, so much of the world, it's because it's not the world we live in. So much of the world is its own character.
Right.
And the ships are a character. Yeah. The Millennium Falcon is a character. The Enterprise was a character.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
New ones.
Here's the thing. You go through and you watch, given very different times in technology and computer animation.
Sure.
Go back and watch Next Generation. And then turn on an episode of Star Trek Discovery. They're not even close to the same ship.
Oh,
like
no, on
the inside, they look very, very different. On the outside, the Discovery is just a huge version of the Enterprise. When you break it down, like it looks like a pizza cutter. Like basically, they both look like pizza cutters. But when I say that because I have a Star Trek Enterprise pizza cutter, and it's the best.
Yep.
But when you look at them from the outside, they're very similar. Inside, they're very different. But it's the kind of thing where we're replacing that nerd icon of the Star Trek Enterprise with the Discovery through a very, very, very well executed new story. Like, it takes place before the Enterprise, which it's still kind of hard to get used to. But it takes place before the Enterprise came about. But it it has such a good story and it has such good development, and it doesn't poke the nostalgia button at all. Like, there's no mention of Captain Kirk. There's no mention. Okay, there's a mention of Spock. There's nothing that tickles your TNG bone for Star Trek and tries to make you recall Star Trek Next Generation outside of the things that line up in the eventual storyline of the Next Generation.
There are Klingons, there are Vulcans, there are things like that. But
well, and the events of Star Trek Discovery lead up to the events that come in the Next Generation. So there are certain events that are happening in Star Trek Discovery that we've heard about through Next Generation. But it doesn't thrive on that nostalgia, and it is creating a new icon. It's not replacing the Enterprise, not by any means. It's a completely different entity. But it is for my 16-year-old little brother who doesn't know what the Enterprise is. Like, he didn't watch TNG growing up. He didn't watch every single full-length Star Trek movie in college, Drew Hunt. He wasn't forced to do that by his brother's roommate. But like, he didn't have that exposure. But now he has the Discovery. And the Discovery is very similar to the Enterprise. It has a very different mission. It has a very, very different inside, very slight difference on the outside, other than the fact that it's like 1,000 times bigger, it seems like.
Well, and you're touching on something that I think is part of really one of the driving forces behind the argument you're making is you need new nerd icons, you need new touchstones, you need new things to build your stories in and around, because if you keep on building your stories for a specific generation, you're going to die.
Say it.
That's the
say it. We need new icons.
We need new stuff.
For new fans.
New stuff for new fans. And and granted, things like Star Wars, Star Wars is so big and now Disney has them. So I mean, they're never going away. So I don't think us not having a new Millennium Falcon or like something akin to that is going to necessarily hurt them. But man, it could certainly help.
Well, time out on that thought.
Yeah.
We're getting a Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting the Millennium Falcon. I love the Millennium Falcon. I love it.
Me too.
I love it. I bought my wife a Millennium Falcon tattoo when she agreed to marry me. Like, I love the Millennium Falcon.
I have the Millennium Falcon Lego set sitting in my office.
Like, but we're getting it. Like, they're shoving the Millennium Falcon back down our throats with a movie about Han Solo. It's happening. Like, my thing is, and this is the point that I was trying to get to, and you got so close, but I had to finish it for you, is you don't replace nerd icons. You don't.
No.
You don't. You provide old fans with new icons, and you lure new fans
with those new
icons. But like, for me and you, in the example of Star Trek, we have the Enterprise.
Yeah.
But now we have the Discovery, and the Discovery is also awesome.
And that's exciting.
And that's really exciting.
It's exciting for us because we can appreciate it in the grander scope, but for like, I don't know, my little nephew who is, I'm taking every chance I can to give him nerd toys and expose him to nerdy material out there because he's not my kid, but darn it if I'm not going to raise him right. And yeah, and when he grows up, he's not going to have the same connection to the Enterprise or to the Millennium Falcon that I did and you did, but he can have that relationship with new things that can belong to him, that he can have some kind of an identity with and share and hold on to. And that's how you build, the nerd culture that we now get to enjoy, that when you and I were in middle school and high school and we were kind of more on the fringes of society, but have now exploded onto and becoming the cultural cornerstone, we get to enjoy that because there were constantly people coming up with new stories and new characters and new icons that eventually reached out and grabbed new fans and pulled them in to the point till we finally got into the mainstream.
I am
And they
so
only got
glad
into the
you're
mainstream.
here to record this episode. Because
Well,
it's like you're saying all the things I want to say. And I've got one more example.
hit it.
We're about to hit Infinity War in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're about to watch a lot of characters die or go away.
Yep. And
In
if for no
doing
other
that-
reason than contract.
Yeah,
But
if for no other reason than that. But I guarantee you, after Infinity War, Steve Rogers does not come back as Captain America in the comics. Tony Stark does not come back as Iron Man in the comics. These characters go away. And we start to see the comics mimic what we have on the screen because the screen was the hook for the new audience.
Yeah.
And the comics are
That
going
can
to
be good.
emulate that. So there's that level of like familiarity.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're going to get a lot of new characters on screen, and you know what would really be cool then is to see because we're seeing a lot of adaptations of stuff that's already existed onto screen, and we're seeing like both straight adaptations and some tweaks and reimaginings.
Sure.
It'd be great to see moving forward after Infinity War or out of, I don't know, the consequences of Infinity War and the reality changing fallout of whatever that might be. It'd be cool to see them actually go so far because they have the money and they could totally take this risk, create brand new characters that then get turned into comic books.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Let's okay. So kind of before we go down that road any further, two characters I want to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, coincidentally enough, are both children. Amadeus Cho and Riri Williams. The new Iron Man in Riri Williams and the new Hulk, totally awesome Hulk.
Yes.
As I would love to see those characters. Amadeus Cho is such a fantastic character. He's a child genius. He is, I want to say he's Korean or Vietnamese. I'm sorry if you're from one of those countries and that statement offends you. But he's one of those. I do not remember. But he is awesome. He is a super cool dude. Riri Williams, kind of the same story. Like heart of gold little girl, 13-year-old girl. As Iron Man, like that would be fantastic to see on the screen, and that would open up such a huge market. Like speaking business wise, that would open a huge market.
And I can already hear the angry nerds out there saying, you know, the naysayers. But come on, guys, let's not forget how lucky we are.
Well, in that
Thor
case,
Ragnarok, I think, is number 17 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the 17th movie. We got way more than we ever thought we would get in our lifetime.
Right. Well, in the case of the
stingy.
naysayer, in that particular instance, like, suck it up, man. This is from the comics.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a great opportunity to do the same thing that we're talking about, is create those new nerd icons, those new characters in film, whether it be DC or Marvel. I wish the best to DC. I want to enjoy your movies. Please make good movies so my attitude will change. But until you start doing that regularly, I'm going to be a pessimist. But I would like to see that happen in the movie, and then go pick up a trade or an actual graphic novel based around that character that launches into a series. Like, that would be so cool. I would love that. So I guess the conversation comes around to the answer of, can you replace a nerd icon? No, you can't. You can't replace. You can't. We already know about it. Like, our love is too strong for you to replace it. Can you replace it?
But we're not asking you to replace it.
Yeah.
We're asking you to make room for new and more and different.
Right.
And
like, can you replace it in the movie? Can the Star Wars, the current Star Wars trilogy, replace the Millennium Falcon with something different for the next two movies? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah. But we still have the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't take it from us. So you can bring in something new, and you can give us something new to enjoy while we still have the icons of old, if you will, which we will continue to love just as much. We will
Absolutely.
There will still be people to buy an $800 Millennium Falcon Lego set if the Millennium Falcon is not in the movie. Like, those people will still exist.
Yeah.
And they will exist in large numbers. I just won't be one of them. But that's because it's $800. And that's a lot of money.
And I've got other things to spend my money on.
Exactly. But all comes back to that. You can bring us new, but you cannot get rid of the old. I mean, for the love of God, Han shot first. We don't forget.
We never forget.
Like, that is probably the most, like, definitive statement of, like, you cannot, a nerd will never forget. And that statement is Han shot first. It's been 40 years.
40 years.
Like, and we have been holding on to Han shot first. Like, George, you cannot do that. We know. We have made our own fan films. We can quote the movie from start to finish, even the parts that aren't in English. We know. You can't replace a nerd icon.
This is what we do.
Yes, it is. But what do you guys think? Audience, listenership, what do you think? Can you replace a nerd icon? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let us know.
What new stuff do you want to see out there?
What could we see a refresher on? Like the Discovery to the Enterprise. The hopefully new ship that Chewie gets. Like, I hope Exhibit doesn't show up in The Last Jedi and just he's like Wookiee. Let me show you this ride. And he like pulls back a football field sized tarp over a Millennium Falcon that has a jacuzzi where the gunner used to be. But anyways, let us know what you guys think. We're going to talk about some jams now, so sit tight.
What's your jam?
Kris.
Yeah.
What's your jam?
All right, so I wasn't able to talk about this jam last time because the last episode I was on because I hadn't yet opened my birthday. Well, no.
Your
last
birthday
Topic Thunder
present.
I'd been on.
Yeah,
it was my birthday present that was sitting right by me, but I hadn't opened it yet because it wasn't yet my birthday. But for my birthday, my wife went all out. I've talked on here before about how much I love board games, and one of my favorite board games. Yeah, one of my favorite board games is the Firefly board game. And I not only have the Firefly board game, I have every single expansion and promo and exclusive card. But the problem with that is that Firefly the base game is already a gigantic game.
Right.
And the expansions only add to it. With all the expansions, you're playing with, I think, over 20 decks of cards.
Good.
20 different decks of cards. And you've got tons of tokens and pieces and ships, and the board itself is like 4 feet long. It's huge. It's impossible to store. So my wife got a storage crate for me from Broken Token, which
nice.
Broken Token they do
awesome.
They do these awesome game inserts, but then occasionally they'll actually make full wooden crates that you can put together to store all of your games. The storage solutions are really elegant and it looks good. And she got that. And this is an expensive gift, guys. And so she didn't get the Mighty Fine edition, which is like $300, but she got me the $150 box that you put together. And It is amazing. So actually the night after I just went out and bought some stain and some lacquer and wood glue and all this stuff. So actually the night after we finish recording this, we're going to sit down and we're going to together as a couple, stain this box and put it together and store everything in it because it is a thing of beauty. And
That's excellent.
that is my jam because I love it. It is beautiful and amazing. I never thought she would get this for me, and yeah, and I'll be taking pictures and I'll probably post them on our Facebook page and Instagram because it's beautiful.
It's impressive. It's called the Big Damn Crate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's called the Big Damn Crate, and it is
so good.
it is everything that I needed. So it was not. My wife's pretty awesome is all I need to say, and she loves me, and yeah, so that's my jam.
Oh.
But hey, Chris.
Yeah. What's
your jam?
I have the dumbest jam because it's the only thing that's really coming to mind right now. My jam is eggnog, bro. Like, I cannot express to you how much. I am not even kind of kidding. My jam right now is eggnog.
I love eggnog.
I love eggnog. And it was probably like 2 months ago. No, it couldn't have been that long ago. It was like a month ago. And we were in the store, and the grocery store right by our house, we have a King Soopers. They recently just renovated the whole thing. And everything's turned around, and it's like, it has been so frustrating going to the store lately because it's just like, where is this thing? Where did it go? Like, I used to know exactly where this thing was, and now it's not here. So it's been super annoying. But we walk into the grocery store a couple 4 weeks ago, and boom, there it is, eggnog. Been having this like super frustrating day at the grocery store where we can't find anything, and I found eggnog like as we were getting ready to leave, and it was awesome. So I got some eggnog. I'm the kind of person that like, sure, I like cream in my coffee. Like, I drink iced coffee, so like every morning. So I like a little cream in it just to,
just sweeten it up.
Yeah, just to be good. Like a little flavor cream. It's nice. I also put eggnog in my coffee when it's eggnog season. And it is the best thing that you could ever do. If you've never put eggnog in your coffee, you need to get your life right. And you need to put eggnog in your coffee. And if you're one of those people that, I don't like eggnog, it's gross, stop listening. Unsubscribe to the show. I do not want you here.
Interestingly enough, my wife, for the longest time, did not like eggnog. Like, whenever the Christmas season would come around, she's like, I would get eggnog. I was like, you want some? She's like, no, I don't want it. I don't like it. I'm like, what? Then I came to realize why she didn't like eggnog. I realized why she didn't like eggnog. As growing up, the only eggnog she ever tried was eggnog with alcohol in it. And when you try that as a kid, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
And so I told her, okay, let me sit you down. Got her some eggnog. I sprinkled a little bit of cinnamon on top, and let's just seeing clear. That look on her face.
Let's be clear about one other thing. If you're one of those people that dilutes eggnog with milk, you can go ahead and unsubscribe to the show too.
What's wrong with you?
Get out. Eggnog is here's the thing. Here's
perfect.
Here's how you drink eggnog. First of all, you drink Southern Comfort traditional eggnog, which is non-alcoholic. It comes in a carton.
Yeah.
You can mix it with alcohol if you'd like.
Yeah, you're an adult. Do what you want.
You're an adult. Do what you want. You drink that. You shake it. You shake it before you drink it. You shake it before you serve it. You chill it.
Yes, always.
Sometimes you get a little crazy. You put it in the freezer just long enough for it to get like a little bit slushy. But you chill it. You shake it. You pour a small amount in a glass and you drink it. You do not pour a lot because you want it to stay chilled. You want it to stay very cold. If it gets anywhere close to room temperature, it's disgusting.
Yeah, well, like we have a bunch of those beer tasting glasses that we've gotten from brew tours.
Yes, those are perfect.
Those 3 ounce glass, like that's like like those 4 ounce glasses, and like we just pour a little bit in there, and you sit there and you swirl it like you're fancy. Oh man,
a whiskey glass.
Yes,
like maybe even a rocks glass, but you only put like 2 fingers. Like you don't want a lot, or you put it in coffee, like hot coffee. You drink it hot. Or, and this one will blow your mind, you make hot chocolate with it. Instead of using water or milk or whatever your liquid of choice is for hot chocolate, Heat up
I'm
some
so glad
eggnog.
you said that. No, I've never met anyone else who's done it.
Heat up some eggnog. Put your Swiss Miss in that. You're welcome. You're welcome. Your holidays have just been saved. Well, I will say this. Do not put peppermint in your eggnog. It is a bad choice. If you want to make peppermint hot chocolate, stay away from the eggnog. Those two things do not belong together.
It's too much. Too many flavors.
It is very much. But yeah, my jam is eggnog, and especially
That's a good jam.
Eggnog in
especially
my
for
coffee.
the holidays.
Yeah, it's a good jam. It's the best jam for the holidays. But yeah,
I'm gonna go out and get me some eggnog now.
you're welcome. You're
Yes.
welcome. Also, stop putting pumpkin in everything.
Yes.
Pumpkin does not belong in eggnog. Eggnog is not a fall beverage. Eggnog is a winter beverage that we just got lucky and they started selling it earlier. You don't need to drink pumpkin eggnog. That's disgusting. Anyways, we're done. We're done here.
We're done.
You're
We're
going to
out.
make me, you nameless, faceless listener who's arguing with me about pumpkin eggnog, you're going to make me mad about eggnog right before we end this show, and I'm not going to let you do it. So, before we go, check out our website, betweenthecons.com. You can stream our episodes online there. Link out to all of our social media accounts. If you like our theme music, check out Afixa. He's on Bandcamp, betweenthecons.com/Bandcamp. We'll get you to his site. And then finally, subscribe to the show. We're going to be back on Thursday with a news episode, a pineapple episode for you. So subscribe to the show. We release a new episode every Monday and Thursday. And they're never episodes you want to miss. So there's that. Subscribe, betweenthecons.com/subscribe. But you guys have a great weekend. The weekend has already happened. It's Monday. You guys have a great week. We'll talk to you in a couple days.
Bye. I'm going in blind and I'm excited.